It's a little bit of cleaning up some things. Well, not really. The last thing we have to do is just hook up power to our coil packs, and that's not really hard. All we need is 12 volts, and it's literally right next to the battery, so that's what if you know what we're about to do, it makes sense. This is a fuel pressure regulator from Holly, and then I saw some forums of people mounting it here. It obviously is not bolted in, clearly, because of just trying to test fit everything. Seen a couple of people have it here on forums, but I have a little bit of grommets. Just trying to. People have rubber grommets or nuts just to kind of tilt it, so it's not, the fitting's not pushing against this. And if you have huge hose like this, you don't want it riding against that, even though it's not going to move if you have it bolted down into your bracket. But it should be the same. All I'm really going to have to do is just add another rubber grommet there, just so, because I just personally want to use a rubber grommet. You don't have to. You can use a screw, a bolt, whatever. I'm just doing this because this is where I saw on the forum, and if it worked for one guy, it'll work for me. And most definitely, I'm not the only person in the world that probably has done this, so just might as well say screw it and get it done. While Jay is doing fuel pressure regulator things, check out the switch panel. Ooh, baby! Look how much better it is than the one that we were making. We got everything transferred over, and we ditched the old start button for this new fancy start button. But we're gonna go to Lowe's, pick up a piece of aluminum to bridge this gap right here, so that way we can mount our switch panel right in the middle and have it not look awkward and out of place. Doing some fuel pump wiring right now, and this is what it's looking like. Here's our fuel switch. This is our main ignition switch. We're just gonna run a wire from the main load to the load of the fuel switch, so that way they both have power, and that way they can be turned on independently of one another and not have to worry about having this on in order to have this on. And if we want to, we could also bridge from here to whatever other switch that we need to. And I don't know if that's the right way or wrong way or correct way or whatever, because I've never done anything like this before, but that's the way we're gonna do it, and I think it'll work just fine. Boy Jay is working on that jumper from bam to bam. We got the jumper put in, so now both of these are gonna be hot all the time, and nothing will turn on until you actually flip the switch and we send the power out to whatever needs to get the power. What are we doing here? What's going on? I just hooked up the battery just to show you guys, just to test out the fuse. This fuse, but not the fuse, the panel. Fuel, the panel. So this is from Jegs. This thing's about like 80 bucks. You will have your load connect to, you pretty much have a bridge to all the other bottom parts of the panel. We think. Well, no, it comes with a diagram.
Oh, okay, is that how it's wired on the?
Yeah, it comes with a diagram, and these switches are all pretty much toggle, just simple 2-prong switches. Low power, 12-volt power comes through here. The top will just be this is the in, this is the out. But we have to give power to all the rest of the switches. I have the other two inside. I really didn't feel like grabbing them, not gonna lie to you. But just for test sake, just for testing sake, once we put this into some kind of ground metal.
Here, I'll hold it on ground. So we ground that, you get the light come on.
And light comes on.
I'll take it off ground, see. So right now the car will crank.
Yeah, it will crank, but I don't have the signal.
Yeah, it's over there.
But
right now the car would crank and the fuel pump comes on.
Yep.
We ran to the store. We got some tees so we could tee off of our fuel line into a pressure gauge so we know how much pressure we're sending into the carb. We got some hose clamps for the 2 fuel lines, and we got a big old sheet of metal that we're going to use, probably not today, but to fabricate a little bracket for our switch panel. Okay, so right now Jay has got those hose clamps. He's going to clamp down a hose here and hose right over there, so that way they don't come flying off whenever we get fuel pressure to this thing, which already happened once on accident.
That was my fault.
Yeah, so I mean, at least we know fuel comes here, but now we just got to get everything tightened down and finalized, and then we're moving on to the coils and ignition system, and then we should be good to start the car. So we got on and on. Both hose clamps on, nice and tight, no leakage. We should be good with fuel. Now all that's left is ignition, so yeah. And then we start cranking this car and seeing if it'll start.
They're just because they're too long.
Okay, so we grabbed the old distributor wires off of the SA harness, then was put onto the FB harness, and we ripped them off again, and now they're here. These are them. They hook up to both ends on the distributor, one on that side, one on that side. We hook distributor up to coils like so. We hook coils up to distributor from here to there. And then we hook up coils to battery, and then we should be good, and then we should get spark. We got stuck. We don't know where these wires, we don't remember where these wires go. And now they hook up to the coils, so
Going to go look at a fucking
video. We're gonna watch that and then get back to you.
Oh.
After some more research, I think Jay and I finally found it. And I've got it roughed out here with this blue-yellow wire. So we go from a keyed ignition source, which will have a switch for inside the car, which will send 12 volts, probably from this wire, back towards the coils, and we'll take a positive from here, jump it to the positive on here, jump it to the positive on the distributor on this side and on this side, and then that'll be it for the positive wire. But what causes a spark in the distributor is the negative, or the grounds touching, and that creates the spark. So each igniter needs their own negative wire. So we'll take a negative wire from here, run it to the negative on here, and then negative from here, and run that to the negative on there. And that's all there should be to it, and that's all we need to do. And then we'll be good to go, and we should have spark. So the plan for now is we're going to take this blue wire that we got from the FB harness, and we ran it inside the car already into here to get ready to wire up to our switch panel, and that's going to be our key power. And then we're going to wire that up to where I said before, and then we should have all of our positive leads done for our coil packs, and then we're going to work on negative. Okay, so it's been a little bit since the last update, but we got the power wire coming out of the car into the coils. We got that soldered on, and then jumped to here, and then they're not soldered, but we got this going into here, crimped that together, going into the next one, crimped that together, and then we have this wire coming out, and this is going to go to the distributor right here. But we're using these pins that came with it, but they're different wire colors. We're soldering the blue and the black together, which is the positive, and then we're going to do that again for the other one on that side, and then we'll be good to go. And then we just got to run negatives from each coil to the negative to the distributor, and then we'll be good. And this is a setup for the pins, by the way, so that matches the way that looks, that matches the way that looks. So we got our positive wires finished, you know where it went from last time, bam, and it goes around into this clip right where this giant red thing is, and then it goes into the positive of this one right here. As you can see, positive, positive, positives on the left, positive on the bottom. Now we're hooking up our negatives, which is on the right and the top. So this yellow wire is going to be our negative, and we're going to be using this wire right here as a ground for our coils to here, and from our coils to these two wires right there. So that's the plan, and after all of this, hopefully we should have spark. because what we were doing before, I realized the pins that we had, whoever had them before us switched it around. So black was a negative on one and black was a positive on the other, which worked with the original harness because he obviously knew that. We didn't. So when we were hooking it up, it wasn't working right and we weren't getting any spark. Makes sense now. But the wiring that we got going on, we should just have spark. And I don't want to jinx anything because I don't know if we will or not, but we should.
All right, we got everything positive related completely hooked up now. I mean, I've explained it 100 times, not gonna do it again. We got everything positive related hooked up, and now these black and red wires that you see are our grounds, and we're almost done hooking all those up. And Jay's working on making a ground.
Sorry.
But we got one more wire to hook up, which is this right here to our coil, and then we will be good to go. And it'll crank, and it'll start. And I'm not even gonna say it won't. It won't. It's gonna start. It's gonna crank. It's gonna go. I
apologize.
Okay, we have everything roughly set up the way we need it. It looks like a little bit of a mess now, but Jay is in the car, gonna crank it, and we're gonna see if we have spark out of either of those spark plugs. So crank away, Jay. Spark!
Spark?
Spark! Spark!
We did it again, motherfucker.
Spark!
Twice. We did this.
Spark!
We did this twice. We did this.
Yes!
Nah, Daddy.
Yes! No, just go ahead and crank.
Okay.
Crank again?
Crank?
Yep.
Well, we still have to tune the carburetor to get the right AFR.
Oh, that's probably what it is.
Yeah, because I have it set to 0.
I am impressed.
Okay, well, let's set it.
Oh, well, motherfucker.
What's in the ring, guys?
Did you hear that?
I am impressed.
Let's go, Jay!
That motherfucker turned over.
It fucking turned.
Let's go!
It fucking turned. It sounded so.
Let's go,
It
dude!
sounded normal too. That sounds so weird.
Woo!
You're so hyped, dude.
Ikey, dude. Ooh, okay, so I'm glad I set the camera up for that. I got a little hyped and I think it definitely jumped out of frame. But we got this thing purring, dude. We gotta adjust the car because right now the AFR is set to 0. So literally it's getting what? No air, no. I don't know what Jay has it set to, but we got it to run off of just a little occasional spray of carbon choke cleaner. So we're looking up a video on how to just set like a bass tune to see if we can get it running. We're gonna wire up that fuel pump so we can leave that on, and then we're gonna wire up our fancy blue wire here for the ignition. And it's starting to rain a little bit. I'm surprised it hasn't earlier because it's been cloudy all day. Now I'm too excited to stop. We're just doing a bass tune right now, and hopefully we can get this thing to idle. Is that? But we're doing some carb adjustments, trying to see if we can get it to idle on its own. But I have only one battery with me. This may or may not have to continue on my phone. Let's see that switch panel, baby. Ooh.